By a show of hands, how many of you consider yourself leaders? Great. How many of you consider yourselves good leaders? Yeah, what's wrong with you? When are you not a good, okay, let me ask you this. When are you not a good leader? When do you give your power up? And what are the qualities that make you a good leader? I'm going to suggest that there are 4 qualities that make for a good leader. The first one is trust. You've got to create bonds of trust with people. People are not going to follow you unless you trust them. The second one is empathy. You've got to be able to feel other people. They got to feel you. That's how you connect. You connect through empathy. The third is compassion. From that place of empathy, you've got to talk and tell your truth from a place of compassion. Truth without compassion can be mean, and compassion without truth is meaningless. And the fourth is competency. You got to be competent in what you do. You got to have some sense of, I'm good at this, and I'm competent, and I'm going to master all these skills. So we're going to talk a little bit today about how we hone and master those 4 skills so that you can always be a good leader, the best leader you can be. And also a good leader knows something else. They know when to follow. They know when to listen, and they know when to lead. I was lost and struggling when the towers hit on 9/11. That year, I had broken up with my very chic, fancy, well-known artist boyfriend. So I was no longer floating back and forth between our chic New York apartment, artist studio, and East Hampton. My cafe, my beloved Bassett Cafe, that I had had for 8 years, closed that August, 5 blocks from the World Trade Center. And I was living in that very chic artist loft that I could no longer afford and I was about to lose. I lost my job. I lost my sense of purpose. I lost my partner. I was in pain. Days after 9/11, I get a call from my cousin Courtney saying, Martin, I need your help. I need you to rescue something for me. She was leading a team of volunteers that were circling St.Paul's Chapel at Ground Zero, putting out food, about 3,000 meals a day, to the people across the street on the pile who were then looking for people who were survivors. And the health department had come and shut them down, that it was too dangerous. And they needed somebody who had a certificate to sell food in Manhattan to come to their rescue. I said yes, and she came and got me the next day. And that next day, I found a part of me that I didn't know existed. I will never forget that subway ride downtown that morning. As we got closer and closer, I could see the devastation in the subway stations. You know that feeling you might get sometimes when you're coming upon a really bad car accident on the highway and you know it's going to be really bad? And there's a part of you that really wants to see it. And there's also a part of you that really doesn't want to see it. You know that feeling? That's what I was feeling like going downtown that morning. I wanted to see this, but I didn't want to see it. And I'll never forget coming up above ground on Fulton Street, 100 yards in front of me, there it was. A gigantic pile of twisted steel and fire. The air was acrid and oily. And there was soot everywhere. It was devastating. And I stood there, breathing, feeling into what I was observing. But what really got to me was on that pile were people and rescue dogs looking for survivors, climbing across that hot, twisted steel, and those people needed to be cared for. They needed hot, healthy meals. And it was my responsibility to make that happen. I didn't know how, but some little voice inside me said, you can't do this alone, ask for help. So I called a trusted friend of mine named Brad Carlson and said, "I got a task for you. I've been called down to Ground Zero across the street, St. Paul's Chapel. They're putting out 3,000 meals a day, and they need to continue doing that, and the health department shut them down, and we don't have a kitchen. Can you help me get this started again?" He said, "Sure." So I called upon more friends, and we got together, and together, 48 hours later, we served 200 hamburgers and hot dogs off the porch of that church under my license. And that night, we served 600 hamburgers and hot dogs on the porch of that church. We had an operation. We had a win. We had work to do. I had some really great news to tell Father Harris. I had contracted or gotten help from Elis Bar. You know who Elis Bar? He owns probably the most insanely expensive restaurant in Manhattan called Eat. The sandwiches are like $21 for a chicken salad sandwich. Insanely ridiculous expensive. Well, having been in the restaurant business, I called him and said, "I have a problem. I need some food down here." He said, "No problem." He agreed to send me the next day, deliver to me the next day, 600 sandwiches individually wrapped and 10 gallons of homemade soup. I was thrilled. So I went to Father Harris and I got some great news. I told him the news. He said, "But how are we going to get it down here? You couldn't get past Canal Street. How in the hell am I going to get this delivery truck down to St. Paul's Chapel to give them out?" He said, "Well, it's easy. You're going to go next door. There's the mobile command center right next door. So let's go in there and ask them." I said, "Are you kidding me? In all this chaos, I'm going to go over there to the police command center and tell them I need your help with my damn sandwiches, my little sandwiches?" And he said, "Well, if you want to get those sandwiches down here, I suggest that you do." Well, my little demon went on inside me and said, this just doesn't matter. So I can remember scarily, frighteningly, timidly walking up to that command center, afraid, really. And I kind of quietly knocked on the door, kind of hoping nobody would be home. Well, this big African-American woman in a uniform walks out the door and she said, looking at me, "What do you want?" And I'm like, "Oh, I need some." She said, "Are you from St. Paul's Chapel?" I said, "Yes, I am." She says, your chocolate milk, your hot chocolate is the best hot chocolate I've ever had in my life. Thank you. Thank you. Now you come on in here and tell me what you need. I got to help you." Notice what just happened. Chaos to intimacy. Bond of trust. So she came in and she says, "Come on in and sit down. Slow down. And tell me what it is you need." So I sat down with her and told her what, and she said, "Oh, God, we got to have those sandwiches down here." I said, "Yeah, I know." People they got to eat. She said, "You see those two state troopers sitting on the bicycle?" I said, "Yeah, I see them. They're pretty hot." So I'm going to introduce you to those guys, and I'm going to give you their phone number. And they're going to be the ones that are going to deliver your food here every single day. Wow. So I created a new relationship. I created a relationship with an authority group of people that I didn't know really was on my side. And I'll never forget when I sat down with her, I almost wanted to cry. Because I realized there was something deep within me. I felt a sense of connection to something so much larger than me or her in all of this chaos. And it wasn't about me being important, but we had some very, very important work to do. And in that moment, I realized I am a leader among leaders. And that was the beginning of 9 months that I'll be part of the team of leadership that ran the food operation and the whole respite center at Ground Zero at St. Paul's Chapel for 9 months. So, that's my story. Now, what does that have to do with those 4 items? We're going to take my story, this is about teaching today, and we're going to go back, and I brought it here in writing, and we're going to dissect it a little bit. We're going to find out where those 4 qualities showed up in my leadership. Where did I get the power to not only lead, but lead probably one of the most effective, most successful cleanup operations in the history of humankind? So let's take it apart a little bit. These are notes because I can't remember everything I'm going to say, but I remember the speech. I may even find something I didn't say that I was supposed to have. First of all, my cousin called me. There was a call for action. I got a call from action. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I said, yeah, I'll come. They needed a hero. They had a problem. And they needed someone to help them solve their problem. Every hero, every leader needs a call to action. But you got to be ready to listen to the call. Okay? But why did she call me? Competence. Because I had a license. I never knew my license was so valuable until that day in my whole life. But I had competence. I had credibility. I knew people in the industry. So that's one of the pillars of leadership. I had the competence. I had the know-how. I had the intelligence to know how to do what she needed to do. So there's part of it. And then, did you notice empathy? Remember me asking you, do you know how it feels when you go down, when you're approaching a accident on the highway? Could you feel me? You had some empathy right there, didn't you? So we connected at that place of, I know what that feels like. So there's empathy. I had to engage in it. So when I was working with people down at Ground Zero, I had to listen to their stories from a place of empathy because I knew I had empathy. I was standing looking at all those people on that pile, walking across that. Their boots were melting off their feet, by the way. They had boots delivered. I could feel what they were going through. And out of my compassion, I didn't know how, but I knew we had to feed those people. They needed to be cared for. So it was me tapping into those 4 qualities and being vulnerable, stepping into my fear. My big challenge was talking to that police officer, going into that mobile. That was in the hero's journey, you're always going to be facing a dragon. That was my dragon, if you will. That was a story in my head that I wasn't quite worthy and I wasn't even that important. My sandwiches weren't that important. You see what that big lie in my head that was going on that was keeping me from doing something very, very important? But I had the courage to do it anyway. Something deeper inside of me said, we got to feed those people. They got to have those sandwiches. So I got to go up there, and as scared as I am, I got to knock on that door. And look what we got. Chaos to intimacy. So my encouragement to you is, all of you have all these things. I didn't know how to do any of that when I got a call. I was a party boy going back and forth between the Hamptons and New York. But what I discovered in that moment, in those times, I discovered the leader in me. And I will tell you that the same leader in you, I have nothing more than all of you have. I heard 2 guys speak about themselves, that deep heart within themselves that can change the world. And I will tell you, when we take our heart, our mind, our soul, and all of our resources and throw them at a common cause for the betterment of the world, we will succeed 100% of the time. We are leaders. We need you there. We need you from the heart. We need you to hone your skills, because not only will your life be more exciting and more fulfilling, but leading the world to a better place, to more peace, to more happiness, to more health, to more wellness. Isn't that what we really want? So I'm going to inspire you to tap into that leader in you and keep doing exactly what you're doing. It's not about self-improving. It's about self-accepting, loving yourself more, being more of who you are, finding out why you're imagining, how you're fascinating, how you're magical, and how you're going to make a difference in the world. And you can do it through speaking. So I hope today, what I've tried to do is what I've attempted to do today was to give you my story, dissect it, and tell you how I use my story to inspire other people to be leaders in their life. Through conversation, through our stories. Sound good? Yeah. So who here is willing, by a show of hands, to step a little bit further out of their comfort zone into honing those 4 skills? What are those 4 skills? Trust. What can you do every single day to create deeper bonds of trust for yourself and for others? What can you do to practice empathy? Don't be afraid of it. If you're feeling my pain, feel it with me. How can you be more compassionate? How can you make decisions from a more compassionate place? And then how do you hone your skills to be a master of your craft? If you want to be a speaker, how do you get to be a better speaker? You come to Toastmasters. You do things like this, and you take criticism, you take feedback, and you get up and you do it better the next time.